Hello, folks. This is Kevin from Good Day, Good Prayers. I hope you folks are having a good day. I know that I've been having a rather difficult time talking lately, but I'm doing the best I can, and by golly, I'm going to keep going. Today, we're going to be talking about the attempted attack on President Trump, the man who had gotten into the inner court of the Mar-a-Lago house there, managed to get in there with a shotgun and also with a gas can. Now, was he going to burn down the house, or was he going to attempt to shoot some people inside of the facility? It's hard to know. However, he was there with a purpose in mind, which was to attempt to end the lives of some of the people most likely that lived there. That would be President Trump and some of his family. So the question is, who is responsible for this attack? I will say that when these kinds of attacks happen, they're not just happenstance. They're not just somebody who is running rogue that is trying to do these things. It always turns out that there was somebody behind it. And once they find out who it is, sometimes they will sit on that information until certain other bits of information come out. And sometimes they will just go ahead and release the information as they get it. Well, information has come out on the Mar-a-Lago raid back in 2020, and we are finding that not only was the DOJ and the FBI involved, now there is conclusive evidence that the Biden administration was involved. That means that some people within the Biden administration was attempting to attack President Trump and attack him personally. Now, the thinking had been that the attacks were for the express purpose of making sure that President Trump would not be reelected. However, it's starting to look as though there may have been a possibility where they were hoping to get into some kind of a gunfight with the Secret Service that was on location, with a hope that somehow, in some way, President Trump would wind up being somewhere in the crossfires. Well, now all of a sudden we have another situation happened last night. The man with the gas can, the man with the shotgun, coming into the residence with the hope of being able to get a shot at the president or at somebody in his family, and then maybe to do a project of burning the place. Well, it didn't work out. He was confronted by the secret police and by somebody from the police department, and he was told to drop both the gun and the gas can. He set the gas can down and tried to pull the gun then on the officers. The officers shot him and killed him. The question now has to be, who is it that is doing this? Well, the Epstein files are coming out, and it is going to continue to be very damning. They have come out now in at least two groups, and it looks like there's going to be one or two more groups of information coming out. There are a lot of people who are being implicated by this. Many of them will be going before grand juries, and they're going to then have to stand trial. Well, because of the fact that there has been so much going between Clinton, Obama, George W. Bush, and Joe Biden, and several other people, these people are now being implicated in the Epstein files, and it looks like they could wind up being indicted. If indictments take place, that means that they have to give up their positions in the leadership of the country, and they don't want to do that. The same thing at the same time, the tariff situation is doing something that the people in D.C. don't want. If you're a congressman and you want to get your hands on the taxpayers' money, that's a possibility. But when it comes to tariffs, and those tariffs come from the imports, what will ultimately happen is that they will go directly to the Treasury Department, and Congress is not allowed to put their hands on any of that money. Therefore, you have two direct groups of people who could be implicated in the attempted assassination of President Trump that happened last night. Now, you can go back and you can look at the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, and you can look at other assassination attempts, and you can also look at the Mar-a-Lago attempt. And you can take a look at all of these things, and you can see that many, many people could be implicated. The problem is a lot of these people are in trouble for Epstein. A lot of these people are no longer going to be able to get their hands on the money that they want and think that they need. They're going to be losing their power because of the fact that the people who are implicated in the Epstein files are ultimately going to go to prison. Well, it's not very, very easy to run the country from Cuba. So I don't believe that that's going to be something that some of these people are going to want. So we can look at past presidents, and we can look at Congress people, and we can take a look even at some other people in other places. We're starting to see football players being implicated on the Epstein Island, and we're starting to see other people in other sports such as basketball. And I would imagine that these next two releases of information, which I don't know, they may very well be the last two releases, but it looks like there will be a lot of implications. Now, I don't think that I would go directly to sports figures. I probably wouldn't even go toward the NFL and some of those other, maybe National Basketball Association. But somebody in Washington, D.C. is pulling the trigger. There have been senators who have been shot. We look at the softball game that happened a few years ago, and we saw that one of the Republican senators was shot at that time. And so there are a lot of things that are happening that are ongoing. The problem is that every time that these things happen, the implications seem to go back to the Democrat Party. Now, I keep wondering if and at what time do some of the Rhino Republicans also get implicated. I believe it's a very good possibility that something of that nature could happen. So now we have a situation where there is a group of people that are going to have some problems in the future. One, they have to keep their hands off the money, and number two, they need to get lawyers because they are being implicated and most likely indicted. And at that point in time, we will see some court trials. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. And this should tell us all that that is, in fact, the case. Because somebody behind the scenes is trying to do something to stop President Trump from being able to accomplish these things. This is Kevin from Good Day, Good Prayers. Please remember to like, to subscribe, to continue to comment, and to share our videos. We thank you very much. You folks now have a good day.